Please like and subscribe for future content. These are stories told by real people, sharing their experience with strange encounters. Number 1. The chain sounds. This story happened to me on my school days, which means to say about 24 years back. I am so sorry for my poor English, and I will try my very best to make you understand what had happened, and I am so sorry it's longer than I expected. Here in Sri Lanka, we have an exam, ordinary level. It's the first big exam we face when we start school. If you pass this, then you get to study further in a school, if not then private. Courses and things cost more money. There is friend of mine, Rukshan. He lived in the same scheme as I do and same age as I am, but goes to a different school. There are 2,100 housed in this scheme. My house is somewhere in the middle and his house further to left side, where it's near to a village which is outside of this scheme. In this village there is a river running, and I remember my father used to say there were dead bodies floating between the years of 82 to 84, cause of political war went on between government and a communist party. People were picked up and killed. No one knew until their bodies were found either burning or hanging on sides of a bridge, or just simply close-range headshot. Girls were raped and killed, but those days were long gone. This river belongs to the village, but still it's near to my friend's house. Many days when I met him on afternoons, he used to say he heard chain sounds at night but never made a big fuss about it. We used to ride bicycles until about 6 p.m. every day after coming home from school. He and I thought of spending the nights at my place and his to do studies until morning, and our moms were very helpful with hot coffee and plenty to eat. Smiley face. So on this day I came to his place and we watched TV until 9 with dinner and went to his room upstairs to start studying. We were making maths questions, and all of a sudden I heard a chain noise, a kinda noise you get when a heavy chain is been dragged on a tar road. But it's still a faint sound. I looked at my friend with big eyes, because I never believed when he said he heard it almost every weekend. He smiled and said, "And quat? See, I told you, but you never believed me, and quat?" I told him there might be some people dragging 3 trunks which been cut illegally. We might be able to see them. Being teens, we had a huge curiosity to find out what's going on, and we had only couple of months left for the exam, so we waited until we finished it. On this Friday, he and I thought of doing little investigation by ourselves about this tree cutting thing, so we lied to our parents that we will be spending the night at each other's places, but truly we were out near the river. There were some big grown wild mango trees which was easy for us to climb and stay comfortably. We ate some sweets, fish buns, which we took in the evening, and drank water. Did little chit-chat talking about how to catch the men who do the illegal tree cutting. It's very dark, there was no sound and no body. We were feeling down that the tree cutters didn't turn up. We could not go home also, so we had to spend the night. We didn't have cell phones those days and no watches to tell the time. Slowly I fell asleep. I remember my friend awaking me with his hand on my mouth, and it's dead cold. I looked at him and I could see his extra wide open eyes and a handkerchief stuffed in his mouth. I woke up. Then he made me like don't make a noise soft of a wave and showed me the road. Damn, to my eyes a bright white dress with long curly hair is passing by very slowly. I could just guess it was a woman, and as she walks I could hear the chain noise and I could see the chains are been bound to her hands, which getting dragged along when she walks slowly. Well, I was not scared but puzzled. Why the hell something like this? My friend took his handkerchief from his mouth and whispered me with some explicit, "And quat? What the hell is that? And quat?" I did not know how to answer. It's just completely silent and all we can hear is the water sound from the river and the chains. The white-dressed woman just vanished into thin air and came back near the river and fell into the river. In a split second we both got down and ran to the river shouting to stop and no-nos, we were just trying to save a life from getting drowned. When we came to the river, no one is there. With the moonlight we could see the river but it's just water and nothing else. Because of the shouting we made, people from nearby came to running thinking we were in trouble, but we told them what we just saw. They took us to a home and gave some coffee. We told them the whole story about our investigation about the chain sound. The man in the house told us that woman is a ghost who had been killed during that time. She was gang raped and drowned in the river by the men who raped her by hanging her hand in a chain on a Saturday early morning. Not every Friday but some Fridays villagers could hear the chain noise. It's bit strange and funny that I did not get scared and we wanted to see that woman again, but after our parents got to know about our adventure, I got grounded for a month. No friends, no TV or radio, only storybooks and stay at home. Me and Rukshan decided not to go again to see the ghost. Several years later the water board department came and built a water refining plant in that place. They redid the roads and area, so after the factory starts working, people said no more ghost came. Number 2. The sound. I am from West Bengal, India. I am 30 years old. I live in a little town not very far from Kolkata with my parents. We love traveling very much. Especially, my mom is very fond of traveling. She doesn't want to waste a single holiday time without making a trip to some nice tourist spot. Generally, we go in long tours during the puja vacation like many other people here. But in so-called off-seasons for tourists as well, we hesitate to sit inside the four walls feeling bored with life's monotonous routines. Thanks to this passion for traveling, we have almost completed seeing all the main tourist attractions in the other states of India. But in our own state, there are still lots of nice places where we haven't gone yet. So nowadays, we often make short trips, for a day or a few days, to nearby spots of scenic beauty or historic interest within West Bengal. Years ago, in midsummer, we had visited such a beautiful place in South Bengal named Bak Kali, which is situated by the Bay of Bengal, near the world-famous Sundarban mangrove forest. The story which I am going to narrate now happened there in the hotel where we stayed for 3 nights. I don't think it was a first-class paranormal incident with ghost sightings, highly supernatural anomalies, etc. But it certainly had a weird and spooky character. To say frankly, my mom, dad, and I too are non-believers in case of ghosts or demons. Nevertheless, due to some strange and inexplicable events happened in our lives at some points of time, at least my mom and I have gradually become a little skeptical about the non-existence of afterlife or spirits. The incident that occurred at Bak Kali is definitely one of them. That day was really very, very hot. We caught the train from Sealdah to Namkhana in the morning, and we reached Namkhana around 12 p.m. The midday sun was merciless. We were feeling tired already. But to reach Bak Kali and have refreshment in a hotel, we had to travel by some vehicle for 1 or 2 hours more. We hired an auto, and reached our final destination between 2 and 3 p.m. We hadn't booked our room in any hotel there online, but we had chosen some from Google Map. We presumed that in such an odd time for traveling, we could easily get room in any hotel there without booking. Our assumption wasn't wrong. That hotel, for some unavoidable reasons, I am not mentioning its name. Our first choice had only 3 rooms occupied. Naturally, exhausted by the extremely hectic journey, we decided to take a room there. The hotel had a large and daintily decorated complex with both ordinary and cottage rooms. One of the cottage rooms was shown to us and we took it immediately. After getting some rest and having our lunch, we went out for the local sightseeing. We visited the sea beach in the evening. It was a spectacular starry night, but a warm and humid breeze was blowing, which wasn't pleasant at all. We returned to the hotel around 9 p.m. and had our dinner within an hour. Before going to sleep, we watched TV for another hour. Then we got our bed ready. The atmosphere within the room, though the ceiling fan was on full speed, wasn't very different than what was outside. While lying, we were sweating a bit and trying real hard to sleep in that very uncomfortable weather. I had mentioned earlier that the room was a cottage one. It was fully made of wood and it had many old wooden furniture also. The 3 windows, which were also wooden, were all open except one. Those 2 open windows, as they were facing the seaside, were shaking audibly with the ever-increasing gusts of the sea wind. There was a big wooden almirah close to the windows. It began trembling a lot also, as the sea wind started to transform into a mini-storm during the midnight. We quit the last hope of sleeping peacefully. Finally, we had to close those windows to reduce all the disturbing noises. That worked and we resumed our interrupted sleep with some relief. The gale-like wind subsided after a while, and there was pin-drop silence. All went okay thereafter for a few minutes, but then another nasty nuisance to our ears emerged. I was half awake and I heard the sounds first and got alarmed. Then my mom, startled by them as well, woke up also. They were coming from the inside of the closed wooden almirah. It seemed as though someone, or some creature with sharp claws, was scratching its inner sides. We hadn't opened it for any use since we came in the hotel room. Mom couldn't decide what to do. But I, showing a little courage, got up from bed and went down to the almirah and opened it wide. And there was nothing to be scared of. I hadn't switched on the light, but had the torch with me. In its light, I observed that a lot of powdered wood was scattered here and there on the shelves. I guessed that might be the work of woodlice or other wood-gnawing insects like that. Most probably, that sound was originating due to their tiny jaws in swift action. I stated my surmise before Mom after showing her the wood dust. Though my mom wasn't 100% sure of it, as she was of the opinion that the sound wasn't fully the same as the very familiar sound of those insects feasting on wood whatsoever. Before getting on the bed for sleep again, I closed the almirah doors. During that whole hour of those unexpected midnightly disturbances, my dad had been a perfect sleeping beauty. Before putting our heads on the pillows, Mom and I wished to see for a final time if there was any such queer sound still generating from any corner of the room. No, it was perfectly quiet and peaceful again. So, being sure about a splendid sleep now, we had almost laid down on the bed. At once, another sound, louder and weirder, this time, made our hairs erect. I still get goosebumps while remembering it. That was a sound of a very different kind, as if someone was crumpling a roll of papers with a furious wrath standing near our bed. Moreover, along with it, Mom and I sensed someone's or something's ominous presence in the room. It couldn't be mere illusion or hallucination, as we both at the same moment heard it very, very distinctly. Mom got much panicked at this and woke Dad up from sleep. I managed to gather some courage somehow, got up and switched on the light. I wanted to open the door also to look outside, to check once if there were anybody of the hotel or any domestic animal like cats or dogs out there who could have made that sound. But Mom didn't allow me to do that, as she told that it would be unsafe to be outside at that time of night. Besides, she was almost certain that the sound source was within our room. I too was pretty convinced of that, as all the windows were tightly closed. No sounds from outside could pass easily into the room. Then I tried to approach the incident more rationally and logically. I began searching the floor for scrap papers. I looked under our cot also. I was thinking, it might be, that the previous occupants of the room had carelessly left such paper wrappings or trashes like that on the floor and a mouse or rat just ran over those papers. But there were no such garbage on the floor, even in the waste bin. The room was so neat and clean that finding out rats or mice was beyond all imaginations. So at last, I had to give up hope of getting any clue to solve the mystery of that particular sound. We had already told Dad all that happened, but as we knew, he paid the least attention to our words. He commented that it must have been some sound quite natural and fell sleepy again. Though he too wasn't able to provide a suitable and reasonable explanation. Whatever the sound was, Mom and I spent the rest of that haunted night with little sleep. Though, we weren't attacked by any evil spirit that night or the next ones. And we finished our remaining tour with supreme amusement and satisfaction. Last but not the least, a year later, we paid a visit to the house of one of our relatives. He is my uncle in relation, and he and his family love traveling so much like us. So we began an exciting discussion on our various traveling experiences. Beside talking about other ones worthy of mentioning, we couldn't suppress the desire to tell about our adventure at the haunted Bacali Hotel. On just hearing the name of Bacali, and the word, haunted, he sat upright from reclining pose with much agitation and suspense. Even, he instantly guessed the hotel's name right and mesmerized all of us that way. As once in a tour to Bacali with his 4 friends, he stayed in the same hotel. He took one of those cottage rooms. It may be that it was the same room also, as we forgot our own room number. We didn't ask him about it, just like us, and had a bizarre paranormal experience. To say correctly, he faced a spookier phenomenon. After taking the room, he was gossiping with his friends. It was the time of winter. The clock was proclaiming midnight. In the midst of the chat, he went outside onto the balcony to smoke a cigar. The weather was chilly and foggy. After 3 or 5 minutes of smoking, he heard one of his friends' voice. He was calling him by name and saying, "Don't stay outside for long. Better come and sleep." My uncle, being a little nervous, didn't give any reply, as something very strange and abnormal was present in the tone of that voice. He finished his smoking at once and came back to the room. He asked his friend, Rupam, whose voice he had heard clearly, if he had really spoken those words addressing him. But Rupam, greatly astonished, shook his head. Here I asked Uncle whether his friend Rupam had done that in a mischievous way to scare him for fun, planning it with his other friends. But he denied any slightest chance of that, as Rupam was the most serious person in that group. He certainly couldn't gain fun from such cheap humor. Even, his other 3 friends were in no mood of joking with him, as they were feeling very tired then and had just lied on the bed to sleep after the short chat. Uncle had never spoken about this weird incident to his other friends, whereas Rupam had assured him that it might be some mistake of his hearing senses or some functional error of his dizzy brain. Though, Uncle, a die-hard believer in ghosts, still holds that his ears hadn't betrayed him, and some strong paranormal force or entity, be it harmful or not, surely resides in and around those cottage rooms. In fact, his conviction has been strengthened after knowing our experience there. Up to this day, he has failed to understand the actual cause behind that eerie phenomenon, just as we still have no accurate explanation about that strange sound in our room. Number 3. Strange voices and sounds. The day after Christmas in 2009, my wife and I took a road trip from California to Texas. After a full day of driving, we stayed overnight at a hotel where my wife made reservations. The hotel was located in a small town called Van Horn. At the time, the town was deserted and the hotel was the only business in operation. In passing, my wife mentioned to me that the person she spoke to on the phone claimed to have had unexplained events at the hotel. We arrived at the hotel after midnight. After checking in, went to our room. The room had one bed and one closet. The bathroom was to the right of the closet, not far from the room's entrance. The bathroom's toilet was to the left, the sink to the right, and the shower was along the back wall. I decided to unwind and read the Hockey News magazine while my wife slept. After 20 minutes or so, I turned out the lights and fell asleep. Suddenly, I woke up to the sound of water splashing and swirling. It sounded like it was coming from the tub in our bathroom. It was very loud, as if someone was bathing or perhaps struggling. It didn't sound as if it was coming through the walls or from outside. I rolled over to see that my wife was sound asleep. A sense of urgency prompted me to grab my flashlight. By the time I got to the bathroom, the splashing had stopped. I walked into the bathroom and it was empty. No signs of life or activity. I checked all around the bathroom for water or wetness. The water was not running in the sink or in the tub. The tub itself was dry to the touch. The toilet wasn't running and the sink was dry as a bone. Then, I looked out the room's window to see if there was a swimming pool. There wasn't a pool, just the hotel's parking lot. Later, I found out that the hotel does not even have a pool. My wife woke up from my rummaging and I explained to her what happened. She said didn't hear the splashing and promptly rolled over and fell asleep. Checking the clock, I saw that it was after 5 o'clock in the morning. But it was still pitch black outside. Exhausted, I gave up my search and went back to bed. While sleeping, I heard whispering in my ear. I woke up but I kept my eyes closed. I heard a female voice ask, "And quat? Who did this to us? And quat?" I opened my eyes and responded, "And quat? Who did what to you? And quat?" The cascade of whispers moved over to my wife's side of the bed. Again, the voice asked, "And quat? Who did this to us? And quat?" Expecting to see someone, I looked over to my wife's side of the bed but no one was present. I grabbed my flashlight to look for vents to see if the voice could have traveled from another room. Nothing. I couldn't hear voices coming through the walls either. The door was locked, therefore no one could enter. Finally, I realized that something invisible was in the room. I made an effort to communicate with whomever or whatever spoke to me. Once again, I ended up waking my wife. I told her what I experienced. Yet again, she said she did not hear the whispering. At that point, I checked the time and it was 7 a.m. When we were checking out, we asked the owner if anyone was staying in the rooms either side of our room. She told us that both rooms were vacant and strangely enough, we were the only people to occupy that floor. I shared with her my experiences. According to the owner, I was the first to specifically report disembodied voices. She then shared stories of unexplained events witnessed by others. On one interesting note, we did learn of a rumor that long ago a female was murdered at the hotel. Number 4. I've been having a younger friend who is 11 over the last few months, and that's when the sounds started. To be honest, I'm terrified to be alone at home. The first time was a animalistic growl. The next few times as now animal screams like a mix of a pig and dog. Next it's the screams followed with the sound of a chainsaw and voices saying something in tongues. It's getting worse and worse every day. The screams and things being knocked over and the 3 knocks. I feel like it's mocking God and me since my name is Trinity. My animals go to the basement with me when I do go, but they won't go to the back room where the holiday decorations are. Before I thought it was a spirit. I thought, oh, it must be a Halloween decoration going off because we left it on. But we don't have animated Halloween decor. We only use ceramic, gel, foam and plastic. I used a smudging kit to keep it in the basement, but I'm afraid that it's too strong and aggressive. Some nights I will experience just pure terror to the point where I just want to cry and scream. It won't let me sleep, it won't let me live without fear. It feeds on my family's constant fighting. I've tried to seal it, I've tried to lock it away. This must be the punishment of what I did when I was a child. To be honest, I was sick of being bullied, and I cut my hand with a knife and put my blood in a glass of water and drank it. It also doesn't help that I do practice witchcraft. But my witchcraft is of the light, not the dark. Hopefully this isn't all my fault. Number 5. Mysterious sound. When I was around 15 or 16. I witnessed something very unusual and strange which I still have no idea about and can only relate it with the paranormal. This never really spooked me out at first, but now remembering it is enough to send shivers down my spine. To begin with the story, I cannot point the finger to exactly when it started and when it came to an end, but one night out of the blue, there was a very loud noise of the kitchenware being smashed around. Like the glasses breaking, other metals and plastic things getting shattered, etc. It was so clear and close that I can tell it was from my place. I told my parents immediately and we went to the kitchen, but no clue of anything. Again, after returning to the bedroom, I could hear it getting louder. I was scared, as if someone or something is really dangerous that shouldn't be ignored just like that. But all I could to do was feel scared continuously for minutes, pray in my head and try to figure out what it was. That night, I slept a little late, but it continued in the consecutive days, and every time it was so unnerving, and I did not understand how my parents cannot hear it. I used to have thoughts as if the next second someone would trespass and cause hurt. Because, at that time, I was nowhere near to any ghostly thoughts. I again tried to conclude it as some annoying neighbors. And if it is something haunted, then that was enough to make me sick in the stomach. We live in an apartment building on the 3rd floor, and a little brief about the noise. It only occurred at midnights, and it was so loud that it couldn't be from my neighbor's place. It had to be so near that I was puzzled already. Continuing to next few days, I again informed my parents that it really freaks me out and I can't sleep without getting disturbed almost daily due to that. But they only doubted me for cracking pranks on them and told me to shut it and sleep, which I did. It lasted for a couple of months, 2 or 3, and then stopped on its own. In between those months, there was a certain period of time when I realized that something was actually fishy about this whole scenario, which went unseen until now. Because of the fact that both the neighboring buildings on our side are vacant from a long time. And on the front there's a main road and a park, and on the back there are slums which are nowhere near to our territory. It is impossible to listen so clear sounds from other buildings in the area, which are afar. The other floors, apartments in our building were also vacant at that time. Also, the most important fact that those sounds were so close as if from my own kitchen, contrary to which the kitchen was always clean, not even a spoon displaced from its previous position. The more I used to dwell in it, the more scarier it got. I'm not saying we live in the countryside or something. We reside at one of the most busy streets of the city, but, maybe coincidentally at that period of time our building, except for our flat, our neighboring houses were vacant. I am also not saying that those other buildings could be the source of anything evil, because those noises, I still remember. Every time I heard them I could only tell it was from my own kitchen, which was scary. The noise being so loud and clear, why was it only heard by me? And why, until date, I'm completely clueless about its source? Given, if they were due to something other than paranormal, then how is it possible for someone to daily smash things around for like 10 to 15 minutes? And quat. Continuously and quat. And that too daily at midnights? It would be sheer lie if I said I wasn't affected by it, because I was. But not as much, maybe because it wasn't harmful in any way. I used to feel really irritated due to those sounds and scared also, but doze off to sleep after some time. My parents were also starting to get annoyed with me, as we had checked our kitchen for like the 100th time during that period of month, and they never even encountered any such noise. I'd never wish to discuss on it any further with them, or anyone else for that matter, because I know it's hard to believe, but I'm convinced that it could be paranormal. Later, it only became a bad memory from the past. But now, thinking back on it, it seems spookier. Also because one of these days it happened again. Just for once though, like a reminder.